I want to go across to the politicians. I'll start with Guru Prakash Paswan, because in the manner in which this campaign started, it seems the BJP top leadership started getting some feedback from their own supporters that the campaign was a little thanda, that it lacked that spark, the fizz, the energy, which is why the Prime Minister went all out with this hyper-aggressive blitzkrieg in an attempt to charge the base. And from what we can see, while the final voting percentages aren't out yet, from what we can see from the morning, there seems to have been heightened voter enthusiasm relative to the first phase. So do you think this strategy is working for you from the BJP's perspective? And given that the Prime Minister lays so much emphasis on trying to position himself in India as a Vishwa Guru, he's going out meeting Arab sheikhs, do you think while this may be beneficial in the campaign, it could potentially mar his longer-term reputation? How do you respond to that? Guru Prakash Paswan.
No, Rahul, I think it's a very interesting discussion, and the way you have articulated how this election has transformed into a mandal versus kamandal. For us, for the Bharatiya Janata Party, it's about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. When you speak of kamandal, what we see is a moment of civilizational renaissance. This year's Ram Navami, I think it's after 500 years that the Ram Navami was celebrated at such a grand scale at the original place of the birthplace of Ram Lala. So I think it's a moment of renaissance for Hindus, not only in India, but across the globe, across the world. Second, when you speak of mandal, again, we speak of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, and Sabka Prayas. For the first time, Rahul, we can see a woman from Adivasi community at the highest constitutional office in the country. A man from humble background, from the extremely backward caste, is one of the most powerful prime minister in the history of our country. Narendra Modi is an EBC. Prime President Draupadi Murmu is a scheduled tribe. So we walk the talk, unlike the Congress party. Be it giving constitutional status to the National Commission of Backward Classes with historical representation.
No, but some of those are rhetorical points, Guru Prakash Paswan. I want to draw you to the current debate. The Prime Minister himself talking about Hindus, Muslims, he had conveyed the impression that he's risen above this, that he is playing for history, he's looking at his legacy. The moment he brings himself down to this communal mud pit, where he's flinging the same kind of mud, there are a lot of other junior leaders in the BJP may have, but the Prime Minister, while he was governing, was trying to oppose. So it seems his idea is, my governance is secular, but campaigning needs to be partly communal.
No, I think, Rahul, it could be your personal view, but what Prime Minister said... I'm just asking
a question, I'm not giving you my view.
No, the speech that you are quoting, the Honorable Prime Minister is quoting from the speech of Manmohan Singh. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in 2006 said that the first claim or the first right over the resources of this country is belonging to minorities, especially focusing on Muslim minorities. And it cannot be a matter of coincidence. Congress manifesto speaking about wealth distribution, Sam Pitroda, President of Indian Overseas Congress, not a random Samanya Karyakarta of the Congress party, speaking of a 55% inheritance tax. And then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh...
No, but why should we take what Sam Pitroda is saying any more seriously than Anant Hegde or Jyoti Mirda or Lalu Singh or Govil, all of whom have spoken about trying to change the constitution if you get 400 plus? Why take Pitroda, who's not any official office bearer and any real significance in the Congress party, more seriously than your worthies who've said you want to change the constitution?
I'm happy, Rahul, that you brought about the conversation on the propaganda basically on changing the constitution. There are 106 amendments in total in the constitution. 80% or more amendments have been brought by the Congress party. Now you give me an answer. The constitution has been amended. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, the mini constitution, was brought by the Congress party. The only time we saw an emergency was during the Congress party. So I think this rhetoric, this propaganda of changing the constitution must be destroyed for once and all. It is the Congress party that insulted Baba Saheb Ambedkar. It is the Congress party that insulted Sitaram Kesri. It is the Congress party that insulted Babu Jagjeevan Ram. So I think we don't need a certificate when it comes to caste. We don't need a certificate when it comes to social justice and representation, Rahul.
Mohan Kumar Manglam, it seems quite clear that Rahul Gandhi and his advisors have decided that the only way to break out of the BJP's hold over the Hindu vote bank is to split the Hindu voters along their caste identity, which is why Rahul Gandhi seems to be going against the core convictions of his father, his great-grandfather, all of whom opposed reservation, opposed a caste census. You've got a caste census which your government in Karnataka has completed. You don't make those results public because you realize that if you're in government, having to deal with the consequences can be disastrous. Is this just rank political opportunism to try and make the Indian voter more conscious of his caste identity than he already is?
Rahul, the form of identity politics, if you want to term it as such, that the Congress party is doing by talking about the caste census survey is vastly different from that the BJP is bringing to the fore. The BJP is talking about temples and largely tokenism by way of representation they've given to certain castes in higher positions. What we are talking about is doing a solid caste census survey so we can provide adequate representation to backward caste, to social scheduled caste, scheduled tribes in positions where they are lacking right now in representation.
No, but
This
Rahul
isn't
Gandhi
a manner to
isn't
devise.
seen as a caste leader, unlike a Lalu or a Mulayam. For him, caste is not a lived reality. It's something that he's now trying to jump onto the bandwagon of to try and benefit politically. He hardly comes across as an authentic caste leader. That's Lalu, Mulayam, some of the others, but not Rahul Gandhi.
Rahul, whether it is Mr. Mulayam Singh or whether it was Mr. Lalu Singh or any other particular caste leader that belongs to a particular caste and then fought for the upliftment of that caste is very separate than someone who's saying that I want to do a bipartisan, an objective survey of all castes in the country. And by saying what you're saying, Rahul, if I were to draw an analogy, and I'm not comparing Mr. Rahul Gandhi to Mahatma Gandhi, but this was the vast difference between the, purview, or rather the way that Mr. Mahatma Gandhi thought about caste upliftment and how B.R. Ambedkar thought about it. Mr. Mahatma Gandhi said that we want a Harijan Sevak Sangh where all castes would work for the upliftment of social castes and scheduled tribes. It wasn't adversarial. He didn't belong to any of the castes that he was talking about uplifting.
Okay.
So you don't have to be belonging to a particular caste.
With Mahatma Gandhi, but that's the first. You made that point.
I said very clearly that I'm not comparing the two.
Okay, so in the second part of this conversation, I now want to pivot to whether Rahul Gandhi comes across as a genuinely authentic caste leader, Ashutosh, because Lalu Yadav, Mulayam Singh were leaders who'd grown in a certain socio-economic environment. For them, caste was a lived reality. Rahul Gandhi, when he asks an Agarwal, do you understand GST? It's very clear, okay, this is someone who's, trying to play this game, but doesn't necessarily breathe and live caste, because frankly, for many of us, caste hasn't been a lived reality. Does he come across as genuine in his effort? Do you think it's working? Or does it look very upar ka just to try and benefit from this politically?
See, it is not necessarily that Rahul Gandhi should look genuine or should not look genuine.
You think he doesn't need to look genuine?
I know. I'm not getting into that argument because I go back in history and I see who started this whole Mandal movement. It was done by Vishwanath Pratap Singh. And Vishwanath Pratap Singh unleashed the kind of energy which has completely changed Indian politics in the next 20 years.
And he was an upper caste leader.
He was upper caste leader. He was a Kshatriya. He was a Rajput, and in the past had never ever aligned himself with the OBC
politics. So you think if you
politics.
pick the right cause, it doesn't matter what your caste is. It doesn't have to be a lived reality.
See, even at that point of time, it was not that the Vishwanath Pratap Singh genuinely believed into the social justice. It was a political compulsion that he had to unleash that energy. Rahul Gandhi today is again facing the same crisis because Congress is going through an existential crisis, and Rahul Gandhi and the Congress is looking for a social base. Look where the social base is. Upper caste, the dominant caste, which used to be with the Congress party, has shifted totally to the BJP. Once they shifted to the BJP, then the Congress need to invent another social base for himself. And what is that base? OBC, 50% population. And if you get this, if we get a slice of that 50% population, then the Congress can be a very, very dominant force at the center. That's why he's doing it.
Ashutosh has a very important point, which is that to be a caste leader, you don't necessarily need to come from that particular caste. He cites the example of Vishwanath Pratap Singh, who was a upper caste leader and yet became a champion of the downtrodden by channelizing caste identity and energy. Is Rahul Gandhi coming across as genuine and authentic when he plays the caste card, or do you, like Ashutosh, think it doesn't really matter?
Well, I don't think what Rahul ji is trying to do is actually somehow gonna pay some political dividend to him. Reason being that Ashutosh is correct in his assessment that you don't need to be a caste leader for that matter. If you don't even need to be a religious leader for that matter, the biggest Muslim leaders in India have been Hindus. Let's face it, that's the fact. Lalu Yadav ji, Mulayam Singh ji, I mean, the Muslims have rallied behind them. Same is the case with the caste group. Only problem is that, post Mandal era, the biggest caste politics champions, rather than taking the umbrella of the Ladar OBC or Ladar Dalit caste identity, they became, when they got power, they somehow became leader of their individual caste within that larger, umbrella of that caste theme.
Okay.
So Lalu Yadav ji became a leader of Yadavs. Mulayam Singh ji became a leader of Yadav rather than the OBC leader.
So that's an important point,
Mayawati.
Ashutosh, which is why I like the fact that we have sharp political minds who have genuinely original thinking. Ashutosh citing the example of Vishwanath Pratap Singh, Yashwant talking about Lalu and Mulayam, who are both leaders of the Muslims without being from that community. Pradeep Gupta, multiple attempts have been made to repackage, reposition, give a political rebirth to Rahul Gandhi. They've failed. How is he faring in his effort to emerge as a caste leader? Does he come across as authentic, or do you, like Ashutosh and Yashwant, think it doesn't really matter what caste he comes from? Pradeep.
Now, Rahul, I just want to clarify in my beginning comment that caste, of course, caste play a very, very vital role. More than 80 to 90% of the population vote based on their caste alignment, not a single percent out onto that. But I just want to discuss this further. If that is the only case, what had happened, BSP and Samajwadi Party ruled Uttar Pradesh after Babri Masjid demolition after 91, 20 years. Then BJP come in the force. Let's take example of Bihar. In 90s, Lalu Prasad Yadav ruled. Nitish Kumar ruled after that, and in 2015, see how these things played. But they lost very badly, the BJP and the NDA. The Gadbandhan, Lalu Mulayam
So what's the point that you're making? To my specific question, what's your point?
I'm trying to make is not the cost. It's not the cost. Cost will always go with their alignment, not a single percent doubt onto that. But मैं जो point बोल रहा हूँ कि ये जो politician जो आप कह रहे हैं रैली में ये बोल रहे हैं वो बोल रहे हैं उनकी वजह से उनका voting preference or selecting or electing the leader of the party is definitely not going to change. They will vote the way they will vote and how they vote based on the development and who is bringing this positive change to their lives. And this is
okay, Gupta ji has a theory of his own. He says what matters only is who's bringing development. Caste and identity don't matter as well.
कास्ट से करेंगे हमेशा करेंगे राहुल कास्ट से 50 साल पहले भी करेंगे बाद में भी करेंगे अरे मेरी जाति का कोई खड़ा है तो क्यों ना वोट दूं भाई मैं क्यों ना क्वेश्चन doesn't arise.
So caste plus plus, not just caste plus development. Okay. The good thing is they have different data sets. Pradeep Gupta has his own data set. Yashwant has his own data set. Sanjay ji with CSDS keeps doing his own polling. So we're hearing different interpretations of the polls that are going on. Sanjay Kumar, to this question of whether Rahul Gandhi comes across as a serious caste leader, Ashutosh says it doesn't matter. He just needs to channelize the energy. It doesn't matter which caste he himself comes from. Do you agree, disagree?
No.
Is this your former guru Yogendra Yadav trying to repackage Rahul Gandhi as a caste leader?
If he's trying to do that, I don't think he's being successful in doing
Why not?
That. Because it doesn't resonate. When he, in a t-shirt and in a jeans, if you start speaking about, I am committed for the welfare of the Dalits and I am committed for the welfare of the
Vishwanath Pratap Singh did this.
Yes, but Vishwanath, I'm not willing to compare Vishwanath Pratap Singh with Rahul Gandhi as a leader because leave aside the caste identities, but the way they have done the politics, the way their entry into politics, the way they entered into politics is very, very different. Vishwanath Pratap Singh more or less like Lalu Yadav or Mulayam Singh Yadav. I'm not comparing them with regard to their caste identities, but their track record in politics.
So you're saying he doesn't come across as authentic?
Absolutely.
He's too prim, proper and posh to come across as a Dalito ka neta.
Yes. On that, you mentioned about the survey. We did the survey before election, 15 days before election. And just to cite the data we asked this question. And generally people believe, whether it is Rahul Gandhi or other political leaders, a very large majority of people believe that when political leaders invoke the identity of caste, or when they say that I am committed for the welfare of the caste, a very large number of them believe that it's all politics.
Ashutosh wants to counter you.
Nobody is genuine about...
Sanjay Kumar says he comes across as too prim, proper and posh to be a genuine Dalito ka neta.
I'm going to say something controversial. See, Vishwanath Pratap Singh unleashed that energy, but his politics also ended with that. The energy which was unleashed by Vishwanath Pratap Singh was grabbed and captured by the caste leaders within the Janata Dal itself. The Janata Dal disintegrated, that's a different thing. So there is a danger here, inherent danger, that Rahul Gandhi might unleash that kind of energy, but the caste leader within the Congress party they can grab the moment and they can become big and they can take over the
Who are the big caste leaders in the Congress right
Sachin
now?
Pilot, Gujjar leader, and there is a Bhupesh Baghel in Chhattisgarh. There is a even Khadge Saab is a party president. So Congress did try to do social engineering within the party in the last 3-4 years.
Okay.